رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا عن أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. And mention, O Prophet, to the people, when your Lord said to the angels that I am indeed going to put on earth a successive authority, a Khalifa. The angels said, will you place upon the earth an authority which is going to cause disunity and bloodshed, whilst we the angels worship you and sanctify you? To which Allah replied, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. I know that which you do not. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, master of all the worlds, creator of the heavens and the earth. Tonight we gather on a blessed night like this, dedicated to a special individual. That individual being none other than the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman. The beauty of such events, of course, from one perspective, is that it gets us closer or together as a community. But on the second level, it brings us together as followers of our Muhammad. And so that's why 15th of Sha'ban is one of the greatest nights. It's dedicated to Imam Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman. So I'm going to try to keep it short and just give an introductory as to who the Imam is. As we know, Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam was born on the 15th of Sha'ban, on a Friday in the year 255 AH after Hijrah. Now we know that his father was our 11th Imam, Imam Hassan al-Askari. And his mother was, according to many narrations, Nargis or Nergis, the daughter of the Caesar of Rome. So Imam, through one lineage, was an Arab, and perhaps through another lineage was non-Arab, whether that may be Roman, and so on. When Imam was born, it was during the reign of the Abbasid Khalifa, particularly known as the king. The king's name was known as Al-Mu'tamid. Now, the Abbasid Khalifas had been ruling for quite some time. So when the Imam was born, the Abbasid Khulafa were quite well aware about the Mahdi coming. They may not have known when the Mahdi will come, but they were definitely sure the Mahdi was coming. Why? Because the Abbasid Khalifas had heard from Rasulullah, to which when he said that my ummah will have 12 successors after me, or my ummah will have 12 Khalifas who will come from Quraysh after me. So even an average lay individual living at that time could decipher, put the pieces of puzzles together and understand that the Mahdi is coming very soon. Which is why we beg the question, why do you think Imam al-Askari was put under house arrest? Why was Imam al-Hadi put under house arrest? Both the Imams, the 10th and the 11th, were put under house arrest by the Abbasid Khulafa. Why? Because of that hadith that they had heard from the Prophet. And when they heard that the Mahdi is going to bring justice to the earth, that would mean that their rulership would completely go down. It would be destroyed, which is why they were trying their best to prevent this happening. And the Abbasid Khalifas looked on a strategy which was similar to Pharaoh's strategy. In the Quran, Fir'aun was the one who wanted to get rid of Musa alayhi salam. Before he was even born, he had the strategy of killing the newborn baby so that that man who is meant to throw down his kingdom will never grow up, which ironically turned out to be Musa anyway. So the Abbasid Khalifas wanted to do the same exact strategy. When they heard this hadith, they said, you know what? The Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari, one of them will have a son very soon. And when he announces that this is the Mahdi, then we have to go and finish him. Which is why a partial explanation of the ghaiba or the occultation of the Imam is for this reason. A lot of us get surprised when we hear the name of the Imam, because a lot of us don't know that his name is not Al-Mahdi. When we say Imam Al-Mahdi, that's not his name, by the way. And it comes off quite surprising to some people, because they think to themselves that, wait, hold on a minute. All my entire life I've grown up thinking that his name was Imam al-Mahdi, the 12th Imam, his name was Imam al-Mahdi. But we realize that his name is not al-Mahdi. Al-Mahdi is just the title. His name is Muhammad ibn al-Hasan, Muhammad the son of Hassan. Which is why I find it surprising when other schools of Islam turn to the school of Ahlul Bayt saying, you do not give such significance to the name Muhammad. We, the school of Ahlul Bayt, sometimes get accused of praising others more than the name Muhammad. We reply by saying, how is it that we give less significance to the names of Muhammad when the famous Persian or Urdu saying says, أولنا Muhammad, أوسطنا Muhammad, وآخرنا Muhammad, meaning what? Meaning our first is Muhammad, our middle is Muhammad, and our final is Muhammad. Do you know how beautiful that is? In what way is it beautiful? It's beautiful because when they say Awwalana Muhammad, it means our very first is Muhammad, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Awsatana Muhammad, which is our middle one who is Muhammad, many of us don't know who that Awsatana Muhammad is, or that middle Muhammad. When you look at the 14 infallibles, the one in the middle is who? Muhammad al-Baqir, Awsatana Muhammad. And then when they say Akhirana Muhammad, it means our very final one, which is Muhammad, is Muhammad al-Mahdi, or Muhammad son of Hassan. Which is why when we say we give much more significance to the name of Muhammad, many people find it surprising that the Imam's name is not Al-Mahdi. Al-Mahdi is just a title. His name is Muhammad ibn al-Hasan. So, as we know, the Imam enters Ghaiba, the minor occultation, which is known as Ghaibat al-Sughra. And that goes around up to 69 to 74 years. And then there's the greater occultation, which is the Ghaibat al-Kubra, which is the current Ghaiba. The beauty of such events is that we truly remember and reflect upon the teachings and what our Imam looks towards us. Because when we look at the Mahdi, there are certain qualities that he exhibits that we should try to emulate in our life. Of course, I can't list all his qualities because the lecture is quite short, but I'll give you just a couple of his qualities. The first quality of the Mahdi is justice. As we know, Imam al-Mahdi, when he arrives or when he is going to appear or reappear, he's going to establish justice. The beauty of justice is it doesn't have a race. It applies to the entirety of humanity. Meaning what? Meaning Imam al-Mahdi is not just for Shiites. It's not just for Muslims. Imam al-Mahdi is for the entire of humanity. When we say he's Sahib al-Zaman, we're not saying he's Sahib al-Shia. He's just the Imam of the Shiites, for example. Imam al-Mahdi is the one who leads humanity. You don't have to be a Muslim to believe in justice. You just have to have principles in your heart to know what justice is. Another quality of the Mahdi is guidance and wisdom. We hear that Imam al-Mahdi, when he arrives, he will guide people and he will emulate wisdom. He will provide wisdom to the people. Now, whether you're a Muslim or not, each and every single one of us in our lives seek to have some type of wisdom or some type of knowledge. Some of us, we may search the pursuit of happiness. Others, we may search the meaning of life. Others, we may look at how we get wealthy. In other words, we all seek some type of knowledge and some type of wisdom. That's another quality of the Mahdi. Another quality of the Mahdi is compassion and mercy. Because when the Imam arrives, how can you rule a government without compassion and mercy? We've seen it throughout history where there was merciless individuals who were so-called rulers, but they were ended up being called tyrants. Your greatest example is Yazid himself. Another one, and perhaps one of the most important one, is his stance against oppression. Just like his father stands against it, just like his grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen stands against it, just like Abu Abdullah stands against oppression in Karbala, against Yazid, and likewise just like the Rasulullah stands against it. So his strong stance against oppression is one of his qualities. And that's why one of the most blessed individuals to have gotten an opportunity to meet the Imam is none other than Allam al-Hindi. And I'd like to conclude with a short story from Allam al-Hindi. Now, as we know, Allam al-Hindi is quite a famous individual. For many of us, when we look at our lives, we wish and we yearn to see the Imam of our time. Sometimes you have people in the community who says, you know what, I heard Fulan had a dream about the Imam, and Fulan had a dream that he met the Imam, and so on and so forth, and everybody is honored by that event. But there are certain individuals who has actually had interactions with the Imam face to face, and not necessarily in the realm of dreams, or alam al-ghaya we call it. And one of those blessed individuals was none other than Allam al-Hindi himself. Allam al-Hindi, as many people know, is a Shia theologian, famous scholar. Many people know him. He's written so many works. Some say he's written over 500 books on fiqh, jurisprudence, for example, history, for example, theology, and so on and so forth. And so Allam al-Hindi had this yearning to see his Imam. And he made a ritual. He would go every Tuesday night to Masjid al-Sahl in Kufa, read his dua, read his supplications in hopes of seeing his Imam. Allam al-Hindi goes the first week, on the Tuesday night, goes to Masjid al-Sahl, starts his supplication, makes dua, and wants to see the Imam of his time. Nothing happens. The following week, Allam al-Hindi goes again, Tuesday night. Nothing happens. But Allam al-Hindi is not a person to give up so easily. Weeks go by, Allam al-Hindis keep on going. He hasn't given up. Months go by, Allam al-Hindi is still going. Every Tuesday night, Masjid al-Sahl, making his dua in the hopes of seeing his Imam. That's a determination that we should look forward to as well. How determined are we to see our Imam? Does our actions emulate our eagerness to see the Imam? So anyway, Allam al-Hindi, he says, I was going and no result until the 40th Tuesday night. He said, I was on my way to Masjid al-Sahl, 40th Tuesday night. As I'm going towards Masjid al-Sahl, Allam al-Hindi himself narrates this. He said, as I'm going towards Masjid al-Sahl, an Arab man approaches me. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam. The Arab man asks him, where are you off to? He says, I'm off to Masjid al-Sahl in hopes of seeing my Imam. The Arab man looks at him and he says, what business do you have with the Imam? Allam al-Hindi looks at him, he says, look, I have a hadith from his grandfather, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, but I don't understand it. The Arab man looks and he says, what's the hadith? Or what's your question that you have with the Imam? Allam al-Hindi says, look, there's a hadith that I don't understand, but I think the Imam is going to answer it. So, with all due respect, I'll go and ask my Imam. The Arab man insists, he says, please, ask me, maybe I can try and answer you. Ask me, tell me what the question is. He says, very well. Allam al-Hindi says, I heard from Imam al-Baqir that he says that whoever sheds a tear the size of a wing of a fly for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, his sins are forgiven even if they were to amount the size of an ocean. So Allam al-Hindi is looking at this Arab man and saying, I don't understand this hadith. How is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives a person who sheds one tear the size of a wing of a fly? The Arab man looks at him and says, Allam al-Hindi, can I answer this for you? He says, by all means, if you know the answer, please. I guess. He says, Alam al-Hindi, let me tell you a story about a king. He says, one day this king was coming back from war with his soldiers. Whilst he's crossing the woods with his soldiers, he gets stranded away from them, meaning he loses his soldiers. His soldiers are lost and he himself is alone in the forest. The night darkens and the king has nowhere to go in the middle of the forest. He says, then the king sees a small house in the middle of the woods where a lady and her son was residing, was living. He approaches that house, knocks, Salaam alaikum, alaikum assalam, and he introduces himself. He says, I am the king, and he explains the situation, that listen, I was with my soldiers, I got separated from them, and now I need a place to stay for the night. And when I am the king, when I go back to my kingdom tomorrow, I'll give you a reward for your hospitality. The old lady looks at her son, and then he looks back at the king. He says, listen, we haven't got much. We've got one animal here, but we haven't got much. But because you're a mehman, or you're a guest, and the guest is the friend of Allah, in our saying we say, Mehman Habibu for us. So, mehman is the friend of Allah, or mehman is the guest of Allah, for example. We'll be hospitable, and we'll give you everything that we have for you. So, the king, at the end of the night, he sleeps, he eats, and then the following morning he returns back to his kingdom. Weeks go by, there's no news from the king. Months go by, still nothing from the king. So then the mother, one day looks at her son and says, son, why don't you go see the king? Maybe he might have forgotten that favor that we did for him. The son says, look, mom, honestly, he's the king. How is he going to remember us? We're just poor individuals. There's no way he's going to remember us. It's been months, the guy hasn't said anything to us. So the mom insists. They both go towards the king's palace. They approach the guard. Who are you here to see? They say, we're here to see the king. So when they see the king, the son looks at the king and says, oh king, do you remember us? The king says, sorry, no, I don't remember you. He says, oh king, do you remember that night in the woods you were alone and we were there for you? We provided hospitality. We provided you a shelter in our house. The king said, yes, I remember, forgive me. Times have been tough for us. What can I repay you back with? How can I repay you for that night that you gave to me? How can I repay you? He looks at one of his soldiers and he says, what should I give them? The soldier says, look, why don't you give them some land and property? They deserve it. He looks at another soldier. The other soldier says, why don't you give him some wealth, some gold, some jewelry? He deserves it. The king looks at both of them and what a line he gives. He says, look how unjust you two are. Look how unjust you two are. They said, how? They said, the mother and her son that night had nothing. Despite that, they gave everything to me. Because I was their guest, they were so hospitable to me. If I want to be just, and if I want to be a just king, then it's only just that I give everything back to them. Meaning I give everything because they gave everything. So the Arab man is looking at Alam al-Hindi and he says, oh Alam al-Hindi, let me ask you, if a normal king like that can give everything he has in his wealth or in his power for that woman and her son for the night that he spent at their house, do you not think that the King of Kings will not give all his forgiveness for the man who gave everything on the 10th of Muharram? That's deep. Because Alam al-Hindi now is crying. Tears are flowing down from his cheeks. Why? Because he remembers Hussein giving Abbas away. He remembers Hussein giving Ali al-Akbar away. He remembers Hussein giving Asghar away. He remembers Hussein giving so many of his companions away. Alam al-Hindi is crying. He says, oh man, who are you? To which the man beautifully replies, he says, Ana Hujjat ibn al-Hasad wa Imam. He says, I am the Mahdi, your Imam. Oh Alam al-Hindi, tell my Shi'as to not forget about me. I am still here with them. Oh Alam al-Hindi, tell my Shi'as, if you think about me, then verily I am thinking about you. Oh Alam al-Hindi, tell my Shi'as, when you pray for my reappearance, then I pray for your well-being. Oh Allama al-Hindi, tell my Shias that they should never forget the Imam of their time. And that's the story of Allama al-Hindi, and that is truly what Allama al-Hindi was saying. We should never forget the Imam of our time. May Allah give us barakah and ma'rifah of the Imam so that we become closer to him and inshallah on his side throughout the end of our lives. Now to conclude, of course, there's not much time left, so as a gift I'd like to put forward, because it's a night like this and it's dedicated to Imam Mahdi, so I've got 12 envelopes, so I'm looking for children whose name is either Muhammad, Mahdi or Mahdiya. So, and I'll say this in Farsi as well so our elders can understand. Jak توفیق دارم 12 تا انولوپ هست دیگه هدیه‌مون برای کودکایی که یا اسمشون مهدی باشه یا محمد باشه یا مهدیه باشه. لطفاً اگر یا اولاد این نام دارین رأی کی 12 تا نه که اول آماده تقدیم میشه دیگه نه برایشون منتظریم دیگه. مهدیه